There's a booger in my drink.
Eee.
I was gonna say something.
What do you mean there's a booger in your drink?
I think it's some parsley.
Whoa. It's a big ass mango.
Welcome to Mystery Whiskery Hour with Kara and Christina.
We have terrible posture.
We have terrible posture. Let's put a book on our head.
Thought you
All
didn't like Victorian England, no.
I thought that was like the 50s.
That too. I think both, no?
Both? Still, now.
All right.
2000? Okay. Alright, so my mystery comes from the great state of your home state.
The great state of my home state?
Yep, which is...
Tejas.
Is that how they say it?
Texas.
Is that the
Yes.
correct?
No,
Correct
that's not how a white girl from the suburbs says Texas. Texas, y'all.
Brandon Lawson. He was this dude in Texas. He was 26 years old. I can't remember if it's his girlfriend or his wife, but they were together for 10 years, had 4 kids. And at 26, he goes missing and hasn't been found since. This was in 2013. So he had some like drug and legal issues in the past, which I'm bringing it up because it comes into play, but he, I don't know how long he was clean for, but he got clean and he had a good job. He like worked in an oil field and, you know, worked overtime, provided for his family, and was a good dad and, you know, good husband. He had recently, I don't know how recent to when he went missing, he had like relapsed in, you know, recent time. And then the night before he went missing, he didn't come home. So the next day his wife was like really upset because she was worried that he like relapsed again and, you know, did drugs, and that's why he didn't come home. They ended up having an argument that night, and he was at home, and she claims that it was just like a normal argument that people have, you know. So he gets angry and he grabs his keys, his wallet, a phone charger, and he gets in his truck and, you know, drives. And this is like 11:30-ish, I think, p.m. So he's driving and he calls his dad up, who lives 3 hours away, and he asks his dad if he could come stay there for the night. His dad's like, yeah, that's fine, but why don't you just, you know, it's 3 hours away, instead of driving all the way here, why don't you go back home, try and talk things out, whatever. And then apparently also his wife called. I don't know if she spoke to him or left a message, but she was pretty much like, I understand if you don't want to come home, just like go to your brother's house, because he lived close. So I'm just gonna go through this timeline because it's like crazy and weird and whatever. So at around 12:30, he calls his brother Kyle to help him because he's like, he ran out of gas, and he's like, listen, I need you to go bring me some gas, whatever. I don't know how accurate this is, but I read it on a couple different things, stating that somebody was chasing him out of town. He calls his brother and tells him that. He's like, somebody's chasing me out of his town. And then he goes, the Mexicans in the neighborhood. And then the brother asked if he was on drugs and he was hallucinating, but Brandon was like, no, I'm not, like, this is not in my head. Someone's chasing me. I also read, related to this, that he claimed that his wife got Mexicans from the neighborhood to chase him out of town, which is one theory that we'll get back to. Okay, so Kyle goes to Brandon's house with his wife, his 4-year-old, to get the gas tank thing, to go fill it up and bring him gas. So they were calling each other on the phone, but Kyle said that Brandon kept like hanging up after saying like 1 or 2 sentences. Like he wouldn't have a whole conversation with him. He kept like, so like they were calling each other back and forth. And then he also told Kyle that he was running through a field and bleeding.
But no explanation how
Yeah,
he was
like,
bleeding? So his story
he
kept
just...
changing through this whole experience, basically?
Yeah, and it was like he wasn't really giving a lot of information, and Kyle kind of just thought like, all right, maybe he was like fell and he just like cut his knee, and his brother thought he was on drugs, but like wasn't worried about him.
Okay.
So at 12:50, Brandon calls 911, and we are going to listen to this 911 call and see if we could figure out what the hell is going on and what he's saying.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. It's like we're just pushed some guys over. Right here going towards Javelin on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here and got taken to the woods. Please hurry.
Okay, now run that by me.
I'm not talking to him. I actually ran into him.
Ah, you ran into him. Okay.
Got the first guy.
Do you need an ambulance?
Yeah, no, I need the cops.
Okay. Is anybody hurt? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Okay, so that was the 911 call. A little after 1, a deputy arrives because it's Deputy Neal, and he didn't know about the 911 call that Brandon made. He arrived because somebody else called 911 saying that there was a truck obstructing traffic. So he went to go check it out, and that was Brandon's truck. At the same time, Kyle got there, and Kyle kind of just thought, since Brandon had issues with the law, that when the cops showed up, that Brandon just like went to go hide, so the cops wouldn't like ask questions. Yeah, because Kyle didn't know that Brandon called 911, so he was just like, oh yeah, he's like, in the field. I guess there was like a field, and he was in the field just like chilling, waiting for the cops to leave. And there was
he was like squatting in the field somewhere.
Yeah, he was just like hiding in bushes,
wheat or something.
So then Kyle and the deputy talked, and Kyle still didn't think his brother was in danger, so he waited till, I think he drove down the road, he waited like till the cop left to see if Brandon would come out, but since he had his son in the car, Kyle left, brought his kid home, and then at like 5 a.m., he went back to go see if he could find him, and he couldn't find him at all.
At 5 a.m.?
At 5 a.m. And he said, I thought this was so sad. He goes, I hollered and screamed my brother's name, and he never came out. The following day, Deputy Neal, went around and, checked homes. I guess the area has a lot of people that are only there seasonally, so he went to their homes to see if, maybe somebody, broke in to use the house, but there were, no signs of anyone anywhere. And they also did, check the area with the thermal imaging, but also Deputy Neal, who was leading this, believes that Brandon ran away. He planned this whole thing, and he was just trying to get away. So now we get to the theories. So like I said, Deputy Neal thought that he left on his own accord. He said if somebody wants to be gone, they can. Could be a contributing factor of why he is gone. Also, I read one thing, and I don't know how accurate it is because I only saw this in one place, and I believe it was on Reddit, but apparently he cashed in his 401k with the oil company that he worked for.
Someone just said
just
this on
before.
Reddit, but it doesn't say that in any news sources. So how's this music?
I thought it was a ghost.
Ooh, who likes Turkish psychedelic rock? I would be okay with that ghost.
I mean, it's chill. Who said, ghosts have to be bad?
Yeah, ghosts can just like some sweet music and connect to your Bluetooth every once in a while when they want to listen to it.
How does he use his ghost phone?
I think you would just hijack your phone and hook it up to the Bluetooth, right? That seems more
With
ghostly
his,
than having ghost Metro PCS or something.
Yes, Finn.
Oh no, here we go again.
Ghost. What's his name? What's another Turkish name?
Oh.
Hello, Loli. Hello. Can you hear me? Lupu, lupu, lu.
What the fuck?
It's the ghost.
It's the ghost! Oh god!
What I found is there's three main theories. One is that he left, skipped town, peaced out. 2 is that there's foul play involved. And 3, he wandered into the field and died somewhere. The fact that no one's found him at all in these past 6
Wouldn't have made
years.
sense.
And they said, like, even hunters haven't come across any remains of him. So, that one I find weird.
Meat and tits.
Huh? Meat?
User meat and tits.
I didn't even look at that. Just copy and pasted it. So, Meat and Tits says, I think he came across someone committing a serious crime or just had a bad person who chased him till he ran out of gas and then killed him and dumped his body somewhere. I mean, when you have drugs involved, like, meeting foul play is not, like, uncommon, I feel. You know, those people, don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah.
You might get murdered.
Dare. Listen
And
to the
die
Dare police officers.
From
Dare and die.
overdosing. No, you might get
Dare to
murdered.
die.
Dare to die if you do drugs. This has been brought to you by Nancy Reagan. Surprise, bitch.
These names, though.
I love it. Bitch is spelled B1TCH. I guess the regular surprise bitch was not.
Was already taken.
Wasn't available. I think he had a relapse. We should do these in our accents.
I think he had a relapse, so I believe he was on meth. But I'm also not convinced he wasn't the victim of some kind of foul play. I can hear other voices and possibly a gunshot on the phone call. And I believe there is evidence. It was edited. I'm not on the conspiracy train there. I don't think the cops were involved necessarily, but I think there's enough that he might have been mixed up with something.
This surprise bitch has a lot of stuff going on right here.
There's too many, like, talking about maybe he was like buying meth from some crazy drug dealers who were trying to hunt him down or some shit or something.
Yeah.
So
Lalonde R. I thought that said bought some milk. But
you know, just first you're starting drinking milk and then you're moving on to meth.
And then you're moving on to meth.
Yeah.
Also, 7-Eleven, go inside, get some milk, walk outside, you can
Buy
probably
some
score
meth.
some meth.
That's a
All
fair
makes
point.
sense. Bought some meth. Maybe it was lent to him and he didn't pay, or he got involved with someone with cartel ties. Then they killed him in the woods and left him out there. I'm pretty sure, I've never bought drugs, but I'm pretty sure no drug dealer lends them to you or lets you have drugs without paying
Yeah.
for them. Am I wrong? Alright, so, okay, my issue. Do you think oh, he's recording also. I'm ruining his. Do you think anyone...
What are you doing?
Do you
Watering your mothballs?
Do you think drug dealers lend people meth?
Land,
Yeah.
they sell, not.
Right, okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We agree.
Okay.
Um,
Anyway.
Unless she's saying a friend lent it to him, but like, I still don't think people lend you meth.
No.
I also wouldn't use the term lend. Maybe he was giving it up for Lent.
Lent. No more meth, you guys.
That's just called getting clean. Okay. He got involved with someone in cartel ties. That could be true, but it also sounds like maybe they're watching too much Narcos on Netflix.
Or Breaking Bad.
Or Breaking Bad. Like, I mean, probably. How much cartel is in Texas? Aren't you the expert on your
I'm
state?
sorry, I don't know. Again, white girl from the suburbs. I don't know.
And then again, the last thing I disagree with this person. I don't know why I'm like bashing this person, but they killed him in the woods and left him out there. Probably didn't happen because he hasn't been found. So, sorry.
And they do pretty extensive searches looking for bodies, like in the surrounding area, like especially if it's not that
Yeah.
big of an area. Like
And
they
even
draw lakes and they.
And apparently the river, I don't know like how far a river can carry you, but they said because of the drought, like the river was like only knee deep. So they had like issues believing that he like drowned in it. And then people did bring up the bridge. Like I mentioned, the brother said that the sound in the background was from the bridge, so people were wondering if, because he was on drugs, he fell off the bridge and got carried away by the river, which makes more sense than
Especially if
just dying in the field.
Yeah.
Also, so apparently, I haven't listened to this podcast, and I'm not trying to steal their stuff. So apparently there was on a Stitcher podcast, I believe they interviewed Kyle, which is Brandon's brother. And some quotes from that are, Kyle said, "I don't believe he was on meth. I know he was." So his brother thinks.
He was pretty nonsensical on the phone call.
Yeah.
Like, it just seemed kind of errant and, like, panic. Although panic can do that,
Panic
too.
can do that, but it just even, like, we couldn't understand what he was saying, but the stuff that we could understand didn't really seem to make sense. Or his brother Kyle also said that he has never hallucinated from using meth, so, like, that was, like, a weird thing. And that he would act differently, but he never acted the same way. Sorry.
Ew.
Hey.
Hi.
But he never acted like that. So,
Theories
theories.
about what happened. I find it weird. Definitely the part where that stuck with me was the 401k that he cashed out.
Yeah.
Before all that happened. That's weird work.
My only thing why that may not be weird is because he was on his way. He recently actually passed a drug test because he was on his way to a better job. So I'm wondering if he just took out the money because he was getting a new job, or the husband and wife were arguing, maybe, over like couple stuff, and it could have been financial. There was also suggestion that the fight was deeper than just fighting, like arguing over normal, like husband and wife
Maybe
stuff. Like it was more about his drugs.
Okay. That's what I was gonna guess too, because if I was gonna ask, was there any signs? Was there any reports or sources that said he was on drugs before that? Or
Not
like
that
his
I
brother
read,
said
only that he recently relapsed,
Okay.
and that the night before he didn't come home. So
he just kind of showed up, fought with his wife, and then left again? I mean, in that case, I would say definitely if he had relapsed, and maybe he could have used the money to buy more drugs.
Yeah.
And then, straight up just disappeared.
I don't know, it could be really any of these, because when you bring in drugs, there's like so many different angles, He could have died, he could have OD'd or whatever, but with the lack of a body, I definitely do think drugs are involved, and it seems that like a lot of people came to that conclusion, but what happened after is...
It's a mystery, right?
It is.
Because if they didn't find his body, then are we cheersing?
Oh, yeah, because you said mystery, and then I was going to end
mystery,
it with a...
Whiskery.
It is a true mystery. Cut.
Is that where you wanted to end
I
it?
don't know. Were you going to say something, though?
I was just gonna say, like, because how else would they have not found him?
Mm-hmm.
Either he got in another car and drove away, kind of similar to the last story that we were talking about, or I think the maybe only other possible thing was that he fell into. They said he could have fallen into the river. Under the bridge, and that's why they wouldn't have found his body or something.
Yeah.
Was this like was it just kind of a stagnant river, or was it a?
Didn't seem like it was a really rough river that year because of the drought. But
that wouldn't make sense either then.
Yeah. So, but he did claim that people were trying to chase him out of town, so maybe they were.
And with that,
it's been
Mystery Whiskery Hour. Do we have to keep drinking.
You have to, at the end, we have to chug whatever's left in our glass.